right? So he said here, common sense. That's what I said before on page. It's actually page 13. Common sense would become uncommon sense in Bill's story. Everything we knew up to now, everything we've done and we thought about was the common sense. We try to figure it out through all of these situations and things in our lives, right? So it says here, common sense would become uncommon sense. Was to sit quietly when in doubt. When you have that with the food, don't fight it. Don't fear. Quietly and centered. When we're centered and we become like, a person who's very spiritual and spiritual bred, spirituality, the universe, enjoying nature. We don't need the material, whether it's, lust is another one. Food is, gluttony, lust, right? Or money, success. And that's where the envy, jealousy, we stop fighting anyone or anything because step 3 told us we had that, spiritual awakening comes from step 12, having had that spiritual awakening again. But again, people do these steps 100 times in this program a long time. The steps are in front. I came the first few years I was in the program. The steps are always, they have them hanging up there in the room. I didn't know. I thought that was just something they put up there to dress up the room. And because you know why? In those particular meetings, I didn't hear people really bring it into their heart. Maybe intellectually they talked about it. Somebody would say, hey, I was powerless, but you want to know what happened today? This person did this. The clerk in the store said that. I'm upset because this happened, that happened. So I'm saying to him, I finally started to dwell on me. Some guy took me through this big book and the steps, and I started to realize if I go and complain about my problem, I'm not saying I'm trying to control it. The thing is that we get centered, and hey, when we're out of the self, our own death we can accept. We can accept all of these things, right? We even can accept our own death. So going on from here, it talks about in here, was to sit quietly when in doubt, that's on page 13, asking only direction and strength to meet my problems as he would have me. So if I have a problem today, I used to call up 10 people, right? The thing to do is, this is what I suggested to. If you have a problem, maybe if you know 10 people, call up the first person, tell them about the problem. The next 9 people talking about the program. I know when somebody calls me up and they say, Bob, I got all these issues and problems in my life. I say, okay, I'll listen for a few minutes, but I say, hey, why don't you pick up the steps? Do the program. They're in the program, and they go, what do you mean? I said, well, read step 1. Step 1 alone tells the whole answer to this whole program, this whole food addiction problem, addiction to people, things in our lives. Again, I use example and to walk into a house, I have to walk through the door, right? I can't walk through a wall. I understand that. I don't get upset about it. I just know that I have to go around and go to the door, wherever the door is, right? But in life, I'm always fighting and banging my head against the wall with everything, with people. I can't change people. I can't. But, the amazing thing is when when we change, the world around us changes. And we talk about that a lot in these different addictions and problems in our life. So, look, we don't have much time because I want to hear for other people share, but just looking I turned the page 14. So here's a solution here that Bill said. Here's a solution. The spiritual solution. Billions of people in the world have the spiritual solution to become what they call reborn in thinking, as it talks about on page 63 in our book here, before the third step prayer. Page 14 says the first paragraph. Simple but not easy. This is the whole key here. I love this word simple, right? This program, people try to make it such a complicated program. It is so simple. It is so simple. But it's not easy because we were taught that we had to control everything. We were the center of the universe. That's it. So if only we controlled everything, everything would be right in our lives. Simple but not easy. A price had to be paid. So hey, you can go spend, like I say, thousands of dollars. They go to all kinds of professional help with the food. They do that show 600 Pounders on TV, right? They say right at the beginning of the show 95% of this doesn't work. In the show, they talk all about the surgery and all this and all that and the diet and everything, but not one thing about the spiritual solution. I'm telling you, that comprehension change, a change towards your thinking, the clarity with the water alone, wanting God's food, our body's God's temple. All of these things you think about. It must be destruction of self-centeredness. Here it's talking about the ego, the self. All these steps about getting out of self. I must turn all things to the Father of light who presides over us all. Again, that joy, happiness is in here, their source. We're creating God's image. If you want to look at it scientific way, whatever way you want to look at it, look. The whole world is in perfection. It goes around, it orbits around the sun and the flowers, and everything is beauty here. We weren't creating, our body is made pretty perfect, right? It functions. Our minds are. But no, we took it upon ourselves to destroy, just like we do with our bodies with the addiction, but we're addicted to our stinking thinking. They call it stinking thinking. We can get out, pray, meditation, just get centered. The answer will come to you with your addiction to food. You're never going to find it in thousands of dollars or analyzing it, or these diets. Diets don't work. And like I told you, for a year, I'll tell you a little bit about me for a second. For a year, I went on what's called the Gray Sheet How program. Very, very strict diet. But I was miserable, every day miserable. And you know something? That day just comes. But you know what? I didn't want to be miserable anymore. It was more joy in the food. I didn't have that perception change, designed for living. Now I have perception change towards the food, God's foods. One ingredient, all the salt, oil, and sugar, they're all by the, you want to believe the lie of the corporations. They're making money off of you. You want to be a prisoner? You want to be a prisoner? No, we have a way out, the spiritual awakening. People say they don't understand the steps of the way out of your addictions. It talks about alcohol, food, same thing. Your relationship with people, to be blissful and joyful when you get centered and you work this program. And it says here, these were revolutionary and drastic proposals. You just have to go to step 3 on page. Let's see if I have it here. Well, step 3 on page 63 says, right? The step 3 prayer. If you look at the bottom of the second paragraph, we were reborn. The sentence before that says, we became conscious of his presence, this higher conscience, the spirit of the universe, whatever way you're understanding, God of your understanding. We began to lose fear of today, tomorrow, and the hereafter. Look, we were created not to have fear of today, tomorrow, the hereafter. Yes, you were created maybe to have it from 1% of the situations. 95% of the things you're thinking about and you're fearful of were not what this was created for. Yeah, if somebody puts a gun to your head or wilderness, you should be in fear. But no, we use it for everything in our lives. Person looks at us the wrong way. And before that, it says, as we felt new power flow in. Believe this when I tell you this stuff. And you can, again, if you understand and comprehend, we enjoy peace of mind. Do you understand that? Or it's just something, again, for the millionth time, like it did for me, it was just going over your head and you didn't bring it in here. They say the longest distance is from the head to the heart. And it goes on to say, we became conscious of his presence. We began to lose fear of today, tomorrow, the hereafter. And the first sentence of this Serenity Prayer says, God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and do with me one. Up to now, I was the God. I was playing God. That's what I was doing. I wanted to control a life in every situation and people. I was the center of the universe. I was carrying the world around on my shoulders. And I wondered why I was upset and depressed. Why today, if you're thinking about something during the day, I got to do this, I got to do that. I'm so upset. It's because we're thinking of what? The self. Selfishness, self-centeredness, page 62 says. Let me do that, and then we went a long time. So let me just see. I got to do this one thing. Was the root of our troubles, driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion. It's talking about self-centered fear. The past could be an illusion for all we know. It says here. But the next sentence, I'll read this one sentence, then we'll go on. I want to hear from everybody else. So our troubles, we think, are basically of our own making. They arise out of ourselves. I didn't know how to resolve the problem, my addictions with people, with life, until I knew where the problem was. It was this stinking thinking. I took it upon my brain, took it upon itself to think. So anyway, as they say, stop thinking, it's dangerous.